Hey, it's MK, and I am back with another episode of Color Craze. Here is the combination that we will be working with today. Janet and I picked this combination because of its crisp, clean look to it. So I've picked out a few close to Cocoa Vanilla Bohemian Dream elements here to play with, as well as some Pink Paisley Fifth and Monaco alphas. Well, actually words, I should say. And then some navy thickers that I have built a title off of. And I also put everything down on my wax sheet. So these are the elements that I picked. I also have two butterflies from 49 and Market that I plan on playing with as well. And so in my scrap bin, I have two more pieces from Bohemian Dreams, Cocoa Vanilla, and I plan on using those pieces. And then this piece is new to me. It is from Stampin' Up. I cannot remember the name of the collection, but I just absolutely love this watercoloriness. It's gorgeous. So I plan on using the green pieces, and I'm going to do another pocket page today. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut up my background piece for my photos, and then basically build off of that. So I'm going to make sure that the pages or the paper stays in order, so that way it kind of doesn't look like it got messed up. However, because of such small borders going around my photos, it's not really going to be a big deal if this paper gets out of order, because I'm not using the other side either. That will be covered up by something else later. So I'm going to take this cut apart card and rip off the yellow so I can keep that yellow for myself, because that I feel like is a good representation of the color that is in my color palette. And then I'm going to take the blue portion of this. Now, it's not as dark as what was in the color palette. It is actually very hard to find a dark navy like that. So I just went with what I kind of sort of already had, and I'm taking this little strip that I had, this polka dot strip, and ripping it so I can create some abstract layers for my pocket portion. Never mind. My pocket pieces that won't have any photos in them, but they will have that's where my title is going to go, my title and embellishments. I took the other part of the pocket card so that way I had a good white space, and I just flipped it over because it's the same blue that I am using in the polka dot as well. So I just tore off some pieces that were a little bit on the wonky side. I definitely did not want it to be anything that was straight across. I wanted it to be kind of sort of at an angle and whatnot. And then I am also going to make sure that the blue is kind of shown on either, all the way down at the bottom. So I just kind of ripped it and put it down where I needed it. It's very, very small visibility, but I think it has a good effect just being that teeny tiny little bit. So I'm scuffing up the edges of my yellow piece. I scuffed up the edges of all the pieces just to give it a little bit of movement and dimension and whatnot. And I can't decide how I want this yellow piece to lay out. It just isn't wide enough to go across the center like I had imagined. So I'm going to put it up at the top of my little pocket card that I am creating. And I really do like how that looks as well. So I'm going to barely put it up at the top and then scuff it up a little bit so you can see some of the green, but it's not a whole lot of the green. It's just a teeny tiny little effect, but I want most of just the yellow. I didn't want any of that little orange bit showing because there's no orange in my color palette. So I'm trying to cover up and stick true to the color palette. Now I probably went a little bit, like I said, I don't have that true dark navy. So my blue is kind of sort of on the lighter side, and then my yellow is kind of sort of more on the brighter side. So I definitely did not stick true to the color palette but I definitely picked my colors from the color palette, if that makes any sense. So I'm using all of my layers to tuck flowers and whatnot in. But the thing about acetate pieces is they don't really show up very well. And I definitely didn't like the tile letters that I picked out from, or for my word, my word in, in. So I have to go and pick out some letters that I do like, and I picked out the little navy alphas that I absolutely love. I have tons and tons of these, I don't even remember what they're called, alphas. Oh, hang on, they're right here. Happy Life thickers, many moons ago, and I believe they were a Paige Evans dealio going on, and I picked up a ton of them because I just love the white teeny tiny little alphas, and I can make them any color I want. All right, back to the acetate pieces. Now when you put an acetate piece down on something that has a lot of movement or pattern or anything, they kind of get lost, and I did not want my butterflies to get lost. This whole page is about the butterflies that we saw at the museum that are pinned to a board, and it looks like they're constantly in flight. And so my title says Forever in Flight, which is, basically what they are. And I wanted my acetate pieces to be seen very, very well, by the way, on my layout. And so I'm basically taking my alcohol markers and coloring in and creating the colors based off of the color palette for my butterflies. So I picked a dark yellow, well, the darkest one that I had, which I think is a mango from Stampin' Up. And then also, of course, Night of Navy, which is my favorite navy color from Stampin' Up. Then I'm going to take this light daffodil and color off my word forever, which was white, and then I decided to give it an ombre look, so I'm going to paint half of the bottom with that dark mango, and the base piece is going to be that daffodil. But I do go back and forth a little bit because I'm not really sure. I still play around a lot with my butterflies because I don't know if I'm happy with them. Are they too dark? Are they too light? Things like that. I want them to be just right. And I left both of them in because I did both of them a little bit different than before. And then I also brought in a lighter blue to try and help me soften some areas. So that way it's not completely black looking. All right. And before I set off my my title, I decided that I better glue everything down so that way I can cut this piece in half, because my pocket that it's going in is actually 2 4x3 pockets. So I want to make sure that it is all in. And then I do have to, because it's Becky Higgins pocket page protector, I do have to trim off some because it does not fit in. It's not a true 4x3 pocket. So I had to trim off a teeny tiny little bit in order for this to not fight me when I go in. And then I am trimming or re-gluing back the leaves that I cut in half based off of where my my seam was for the 4x3. All right, so going ahead and putting portion of my title down, and then halfway through I decided that I wanted an element to be floating with the title, so that way it kind of sort of looks like it's an embellishment rather than just a boring old title. So I wanted to put a flower or a butterfly or something in there, so that way it kind of all flowed together instead of just title over here and flowers over there. So the vellum flowers that came in the Bohemian Dreams Cocoa Vanilla set are just a little bit too, you can't put them on anything. So I've always had to back them with something. So I'm trying to get just another variant of yellow in here, which I'm not sure if I liked it or not. But I do in the end, because I did make my title ombre. So I do like the fact that I decided to go with 2 yellows instead of just the one bright neon yellow. But what I did was I took the orange that was on the back side of my green paper and glued the vellum flowers onto the orange, which gave me that mango look that is in my title. And then I also backed my butterflies with white cardstock because, again, I still could not see they just looked like a blob on this print that I was trying to use as the base print for everything. It just wasn't working. It was just too busy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I also am cutting up my leaves so that way I have enough to go around everywhere that I need it to. And also, again, with the large white border around it, I do enjoy cutting up all of my leaves and getting that border to trim down somewhat. All right, so I do want to make 2 more clusters so that way I have like my triangle on my layout, or my pocket pages, I should say. And I was missing something. I was missing a foundation piece. So anytime I build a cluster, I like some sort of foundation piece. Now, it doesn't have to be overly large or anything like that. It just has to be like a solid that grounds something. So I decided to do more green going around, since you can't really see the green around the photos, which you can, but you really can't. So I decided to use a little bit more from my scrap pieces that I had left over from trimming out my photo mats, right? So I did that using a ticket punch. And the cool part is when I did my ticket punch, it also has a micro ticket punch on it. And on the other side, it punched beautifully on the white with gold polka dots portion of the, orange watercolor flowers. And I thought, oh, that's perfect. So I decided to cut a few more on purpose instead of on accident like the first one was. It just worked out in my favor. So I'm going to build a larger cluster down at the very bottom photo. And I kind of want it to go, I'm purposely trying to cover up the turtle shells, which I wasn't sure if I wanted to or not, so I don't cover up all of them, but I am purposely covering up because I kind of want my butterfly to look like it's flying with the big blue butterfly that is in the photo, and I kind of want my embellishment to flow into the photo is kind of where, my brain was thinking and sending me. So that's what I was looking for and working on all together. And then of course, I don't throw anything away, you guys. I try to use every little bit of every little thing. So I'm going to take that piece of flower that I cut off and had not glued down onto this orange paper, and I'm going to trim it off so that way I can use it somewhere else, which is right here. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because my vellum leaves were getting lost and I did not want to glue them to white and cut them out. I don't know why. I wanted them to be light and airy because they're going up my photo instead of covering up something down in like a nice little corner. And so I did want those to be a little bit on the softer side and more invisible side. So once I am done with that bottom cluster, I'm going to work on the other little smaller cluster. I can't say it's a teeny cluster, but it is a smaller cluster. And I'm going to try and use every little thing that I have. So the leaves that I trimmed off, from other, I stole more leaves from it. And then of course, having that little ticket there is just perfect. Now it doesn't really mean anything. The ticket's not meant to be anything except for just an extra added element. And I think it's nice to have that white space brought down, especially when I had that white space from the title cards brought down. So here is the final result of my little pocket pages. I absolutely love the end result, even though I was kind of sort of questioning myself throughout the entire process, but I do love how it all turned out. I can't wait to see what Janet does with this color palette because I do love the navy and the yellow and the green color palette. I absolutely love it. I did kind of sort of ignore the off-white that they did use. But yeah, I definitely love yellow and green and a dark blue. Love it. Absolutely. So be sure to check out Galaxy Girl Creations and see what she did today. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today and seeing what our color palette is for today. And I will see you all later. Bye.